All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I am wrapping up my day. It's been kind of a slow day where our work is closed. It's kind of a paperworky day, so we can dress down. But anyway, I'm going to go hunting for cheap fragrances, and I just want to make a brief video of what that looks like. So let's go ahead and head out. Out. I think that was the S21 Ultra. So I care. But I hate, I don't hate try to film. Here, let's turn in here. All right, so in this portion of the video, I walk into Marshall's and I'm kind of like dumbfounded because normally Marshall's, there's two Marshall's in town that I usually go to, and they're both usually pretty good. And as you can see, the counter's pretty bare in this situation. Hi. I guess I should also mention that Chrome is one of my favorite fragrances or colognes of all time, but they have such a dizzying array of flankers that it's not even worth looking into to me. If I've come across the original for under 30, I'd probably grab it. I have yet to pick up a Mont Blanc fragrance just because English Laundry kind of, satisfies my needs at this point, and I usually find those for like 30 bucks. Speaking of Mont Blanc, for like 1.7 ounces or 2.5 ounces, probably closer to 1 or 1.7 ounces. But yeah, I mean, this is typical Ross. You have your Chrome. I haven't seen Versace there very often, but then you have a lot of the car brands. I think in this trip I saw one from Kanye. You have Calvin Klein in there and Curve. I'm not a big unisex fragrance guy, not a big car cologne guy, and I'm definitely not a big Beverly Hills Polo Club guy. So I've had absolutely no luck at this Ross and Marshall's here, and that's the driest I've seen them in a while. We are getting close to back to school time, so I think that has something to do with it. We had like tax-free weekend a while ago, or this past weekend, and of course that did whatever it did. So anyway, it's not like we're looking for bread and milk, but I will soldier on and let you guys know. This isn't like a main area where I live. I mean, I would say this is a middling area. There's a Belk over there and a Target and a Marshall's, and there are places to eat down there. There's a Staples over there. So, I mean, there's quite a bit in this area, southwest area. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's nice. It's not run down. So. All right, so while I'm on the way to Burlington, I just want to speak briefly about going to Ross for fragrances. I think it's an okay place to buy them from, but it it's not a place where you can find cheap fragrances under like $20. You just can't do it. I feel like, you know, when you go there, you'll see like 1.7 ounce Mont Blancs. They're different fragrances, and they'll be like $25, $27, which is fine. But you know, it's not great. Like you can find like Versace blue jeans for like $21 at Marshall's. And then also TJ Maxx. You can't, you know, you can find English Laundry for under 20. I found several, you know, quality fragrances for $20 or less at Marshall's, TJ Maxx. And so I feel like Ross is kind of like my fourth option. I would say, you know, in my town at least, it's going to be Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Burlington, and then Ross. And on some days, or a lot of days, Burlington's going to beat out TJ Maxx just because they don't have anything, not because the prices aren't there. I am going to the B side Burlington in my town, so we'll see what they have to offer. This one usually does not have anything. I don't know if it gets ransacked. It seems to me like they just never get stocked with anything. I don't know if it's the demographic in this area, but we're gonna go ahead and check it out. All right, so this is kind of in a middle, this is what we call Midtown where I live. So this isn't a bad area. They have some nice stores and whatnot. Not high crime at all. You have some very nice houses, and you have some neighborhoods with a lot of rental houses, but we'll go in here and check it out. Like I said, this one might surprise me, but it's usually not a great Burlington to go in for fragrances.
Saturdays when they can be school stuff, not everything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at Burlington 1, and as I said before I went in, there's not much to see here. So you see you have your Nissan there, you have your Jordan there. There's nothing wrong with that Dakar or the Nautica, but you know, I don't ever buy Guess or Beverly Hills Polo Club. You do have a couple English laundries here, and I'll kind of get into where Burlington has fallen lately. I mean, honestly, this one's more well-stocked than it was before, but there's a lot of nonsense in here, which, you know, is what you're going to find when you're shopping around. I mean, you can pick up Curve, some Calvin Klein consistently in Burlington. But yeah, I really try to stay away from super cheap brands because I feel like they're made to trick you. Basically, if you go in the store and spray them, they smell like something, and then when you get them home, they last 15, 20 minutes, and they kind of remind you of a fragrance, and what they want you to do is spray it on thinking you smell like Polo Blue, Polo Red, because typically they aren't, you know, reflections or clones of newer fragrances, but they don't do anything. And so you go out in public and you engage and you just forget you have on a fragrance, and honestly, you don't. So that's where I'm at with that.
Cash grab. Probably a low-key gem. 3.3 fluid ounces.
So yeah, we kind of struck out there. They had more than what they normally do. But I already have Tahitian waters, which would have been what I would have grabbed. And once I saw that, I was like, well, let me see. Excuse my dirty headliner. Left this thing open in the rain. But anyway, I was going to see if they had any more English laundry because then I could double up or whatever. But they didn't. So yeah, we're going to head to our second to last location. It's going to be a Marshall's. I think there's a Ross nearby, but I never go in the Ross. I pretty much, like I said, know what to expect with Ross. I've never been surprised. Mostly Nautica Blue. Then you have some like car fragrances. You toss in your random Kanye fragrance. You know, if I really wanted something out of Ross, it probably would be Chrome. But I don't know, and I really love that scent. That's like my favorite clean scent. Nautica's just as fresh, but I think Chrome smells a little bit cleaner, but I don't need it. You know, it's just kind of basic, and I feel like Nautica Voyage just does what that one does. I mean, unless you just want to have Chrome in your collection, there's really no reason to kind of fool with it. All right, so change of plan. I'm gonna head over to Nordstrom Rack because they close at 9. I left work a little bit later trying to film some stuff. So anyway, we're gonna head to Nord Rack because they usually have like some good cheapies. They're not under 20, but you can find like between $20 and $30. They hit. I know what to expect from them. They usually have a Zero Chrome flankers, Kenneth Cole, Tommy Bahama. So we're gonna go ahead and check them out. I'll just show you some of the prices. I want to see if they have some shoes there, and then I'll head over to that last Marshall's and then back to Burlington. Right, and I guess one thing I'll mention before I get to Nordstrom Rack is that one store that is underrated as far as like getting to know fragrances is Sephora. And we have 2 Kohl's in town. Actually, we have 3 in the area, and I know at least 2 of them have Sephora's inside, and those are a really good place to go to check out fragrances. When I go there, they don't hover, and they have a lot of the fragrances that you see reviews on and things like that. And they're just really good because you'd be surprised the difference between your perception of a cologne by watching a video and actually smelling it in person. And so I find that usually reviews are pretty accurate, but just impressions and opinions about fragrances, that's where it can kind of go off. You know, people will say they can smell these notes, that note, and they're usually spot on with that. I think it's a good place to get a decent idea. You could actually, since it's in a department store, you can spray some things, check some things out, and then walk away, give your nose some time to breathe, and then go shop around and come back. Acqua di Gio, I checked out Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, Versace Dylan Blue, and a couple others. And it gave me a decent idea of what the fragrances smelled like. And being in a store, it's really best to wear it on your skin, to smell it in the air, in the environment, or environments that you operate in. But that's kind of tough when they're like $100, $120 a piece. You really don't want to drop that, you know, to get an impression. So, all right, so I want to take some time to go over 4 different points while you're watching this footage of me in Nordstrom Rack. Number 1 is I did not realize iMovie was cropping in the footage that I filmed, you know, on my front-facing camera or the rear-facing camera. I can't remember which one I was using, but anyway, that's why it's so close to my face. I could have actually zoomed out so you could probably see more of my back seat and sunroof or whatever, but it's kind of awkward. I just left it in there. Same thing when I'm in the store. The footage is like super, you know, zoomed in because when I zoom out, it makes it kind of skinny and it doesn't fill the screen. It's not as appealing to the eyes, but you'll see in a part of this clip where I zoom it out to where, you know, it natively sits, so to speak. And then the third thing is when you're going in a store like Nordstrom Rack or any kind of discount retailer, be sure to kind of look behind things and crouch down to that bottom shelf because you can find some hidden gems that maybe somebody tried to hide, or, you know, the things had gotten disheveled somehow throughout the day. Because, you know, like I just showed you, or you will see, there's a Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, just one, sitting on this shelf. And then there's a John Paul Le Male that's at the top, you know, behind several fragrances that you'll see. So kind of keep that in mind. And then the fourth thing is that I love Nordstrom Rack because it is a little bit upscale, so it's not as noisy. You don't have a ton of kids running around. People aren't turning up in customer service, and people usually keep to themselves. They don't bother you. But when I was filming this, I felt like a million eyes were on me, and it could be paranoia or just insecurity or whatever. So it's just, you know, just be aware when you cut a camera on, sometimes if people figure out you're filming, they're gonna look. Just natural curiosity. Okay, and so now I'll kind of go over what I was seeing in this Nordstrom rack. As you can see, they have some Burberry, which they usually do. Like I said, they usually have Kenneth Cole in there, Tommy Bahama, you know, a bunch of chrome flankers. Then they have like aftershave-y type stuff. I have not seen English Laundry gift sets in there before. So that was nice. That English Laundry crown was actually a good deal at 40 bucks. I ended up buying the English Laundry Oxford Blue out of here just because it smells like Versace Eros, and it has a similar smell to, I believe, Oxford Blue already. And so here's the Oxford Blue that I picked up. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of typical. The Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue was a pleasant surprise. But again, it's definitely worth checking out. So I'm glad I stopped in and I had that great pickup. I ended up paying 30 bucks for that Oxford Blue, and that's the one I did a review video on. And here's that Le Male or Le Male that I was talking about earlier. So again, a lot of hidden gems can be had if you're willing to do, you know, the crouching and leaning and looking behind. I didn't buy this just because I had a friend, he had that way back when I was in college a long time ago, over a decade, and I wasn't a huge fan of it then. I was more of a Burberry guy. My tastes have changed in a lot of ways, but a great place to stop nonetheless. All right, second to last stop. We're at Marshall's. Check it out. Put it in. I think this is in a nicer area. The other one. So I'm just gonna see. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so in this clip, there is not much to see here. Like I said in the past, Marshall's has been a really good spot, but after this tax-free weekend, they were just ravaged and down to bare bones. They did have some Abercrombie & Finch and some Victoria's Secrets colognes, but I've heard Abercrombie & Finch are nice, and I've seen videos on them, but you know, I really don't want to smell like a high schooler. That's basically where it boils down to. And I'm in my 30s, past the college age, and I'll wear scents that are younger, like 1 Million, but I just can't do Abercrombie. I can't go back to Curve either. I used to wear that when I was younger. Curve Crush, regular Curve. Regular Curve used to be fire for all those old heads that are out there. Anyway, sometimes at Marshall's, I will peek around the corner at the aftershave area, and I'll give you kind of a gold nugget on this one. When you're at Marshall's and also TJ Maxx, it's good to look in this area because sometimes there's deodorant sprays of colognes that you may not be familiar with, so you can kind of take a whiff of those to get an idea of what you're getting into. Not gonna get Whoop or, you know, Jupe. I just don't think it's a great fragrance. It smells really old to me. It's never ever been a thing. My brother liked it way back, but yeah.
I feel like you have to be like 70 or older to wear that. So we're gonna, there's a no on that. And then they just had some basic guess and stuff. So sometimes you're able to find things, but not always. Kind of a toss-up, but it's worth the chase, I suppose. All right, last stop, Burlington.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is actually not the last stop. I did end up going by TJ Maxx, and I also took a brief clip of Sephora and a Kohl's just as an example, but I will say this store was kind of ransacked just like the others. That before school tax-free weekend really did a number on these stores, and I think I talk about this later on in the end of the video, but man, Burlington has really turned around here in my town. This is not a great example, but this is where I found English Laundry London for $13.99. This English Laundry is normally $12.99, but that one was $13.99, well worth it. And I came back and I got a second bottle. Earlier in the spring, I found Nautica Voyage for $10. And so it's been really a good store, and it's turned around too. And you can see Riviera there. don't buy that fragrance. I'm going to put a video out on that. It disappears so quickly, it's not worth it. One thing I will say about going into this store and other discount retailers, here's another gold nugget. That Davidoff Cool Water, that's actually a perfume for women. I could not figure out why. I couldn't find any reviews on that, but that's neither here nor there. The other gold nugget I wanted to say was, don't buy fragrances that have like celebrities attached to them. Sean John is an exception, but some of these ones with like Mr. Levine or David Beckham, it's just they're attaching their name to something they had nothing to do with. They've taken no stock or real interest in developing the fragrance. You know, it's basically just it's really just a cash grab and a blind endorsement. There's no real credibility in those fragrances, in my opinion, and you don't see them very much. If they were cheapy sleepers, they would have been found out by now. And again, it's a lot of car brands. I don't even know about Echo. This would be a great place if you were in high school to kind of come shop, because then you can kind of do the Calvin Klein thing and just kind of test the waters on stuff. They have really, really good prices. A lot of fragrances are $12.99. John Mark was in here for $10.99. So definitely worth checking out. They do have Kenneth Cole. They do have Mont Blanc in here. So very, very rich store. They've really turned it around. All right, so I had to run some errands, and on my way back home, I was going past TJ Maxx. So I figured I would just take you on a little tour and see what it has to offer. So here we are. Expectations are very low. Well, to my surprise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I was pleasantly surprised by the selection in this store. So not only has Burlington in my town turned around, but TJ Maxx has turned a sharp corner. They had Eternity, several other Calvin Klein things in there. They had different types of Burberry. They had Versace. Again, don't buy that Cool Water Special Edition. That's for women. And then they had like super cheapies like Adidas and John Mark. That John Mark I got is one that I bought here at this very TJ Maxx. We only have one in our town. There's some Burberry like I mentioned, and in this visit I actually found a second bottle of Cambridge Night. It did not have a top on it, but one of the things I love about TJ Maxx is the fragrances are $12.99 for the ones that are out and open. Your Versace, Burberry, Mont Blancs are going to be a little bit more, and it's kind of weird how they have things out. Like John Mark is usually in a case, which it's a step below like Calvin Klein and Nautica to me, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not there to steal, so no worries for me. Again, if you are in these stores, peek around the corner so that you can see if they have some deodorant sprays of scents you are considering. It's just helpful research while you're in the store, so you can, have a very accurate understanding of what that scent entails. But I will get back to this video. Again, I'm just blown away. I mean, they had Tahitian waters in here. They had a signature, English laundry cologne. So a lot to look at. Again, don't forget to crouch and look behind things, and you can find some true gems.
Those are kind of B-sides to me. So, just cash grabs. But Burberry Weekend, I have no idea how that smells. So.
Oh yeah, and I did pick up that Homme Noir from John Mark that I did a video on in here. So I want to give you an accurate depiction of how and where I find fragrances. Even though this video is lengthy, I just think it's worth it. I like looking at these types of things online. Oh yeah, and my trip to this TJ Maxx also highlighted my need to do more research on Burberry fragrances. I really think that there is an opportunity there, as they're probably a little bit more distinct than some of the more common fragrances that are reviewed and worn, especially around the Midwest. And I want to kind of tap into that because I don't like smelling like everyone else. Even though I have some fragrances that I like that are super popular and crowd pleasers, Burberry seems to be more posh and therefore a bit more appealing to me, so I can stand out and kind of be more distinctive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so apparently I need to put some respect on Burberry HQ, aka TJ Maxx. So I've been in at TJ Maxx, several times over the past 3 or 4 months, and they've never been stocked up like that. At TJ Maxx, when they're stocked, if you have a good one, to get like, quality fragrances or well-known ones, you're going to get about half off, maybe 55% off, because the Burberry was like $40. A lot of those were, $40, which if you're into those fragrances, you're not going to find those for $12, $13. They're not going to be cheapies, just because they are what they are. They're pretty established. If you're looking for a Burberry or something like that, TJ Maxx is a great place to check out. One thing I did like was that the bottles were shrink wrapped and they were in these, protective cases, because what happens a lot of times, if something is just shrink wrapped, people will open it, they'll rip the top off just to get a smell of it. And I think on scents like that are pretty well known, go to Sephora or even buy a little decant sample. If it's something that, you're very interested in, go ahead and spend $10, $15, especially if it's going to be one of your signature scents potentially that you're going to wear, for the rest of your life. I mean, what's paying, $15, $10, $20 for something like that? So we're going to add a little bit of respect on TJ Maxx's name. The last time I was in there, which was like a week and a half ago, they had on that rack, I kid you not, like 2 fragrances. One was shrink wrapped and was open, and then one was just like a cheap no-namer. For a final thought, I would say going to these discount retailers, it's kind of like playing Plinko. You're just waiting for the chip to come down to see what you have. I don't have a big collection, and I don't aspire to have a big collection. Fragrances are just something that interests me. But I'm not looking to, have a big cabinet full so I can, sit back in front of my camera and, be flanked by, $5,000 in fragrances, $10,000, whatever, which I love those channels. I love that people are that into it, and those are more expert level people. So anyway, those are just my thoughts. I'll probably make another video in the future if I'm somewhere and I have, the find of my life.
All right, here we are headed to Kohl's, just so I can show you how to smell some fragrances. They have testers here, so you can try everything.